Welcome back. Batman Arkham Knight at the time of recording is exactly 10 years old. Oh my god, that's a long time. And as a lifelong Batman fan, I have been playing this game for exactly half of my entire life, which is kind of insane to think. However, I've never gone after all of the achievements in Arkham Knight, but that all changes today. Today I'm going to finish the story I started in 2015 and finally save Gotham for good. Before, at the end of the video, I rank each playable character on how hard their segments of the achievement hunt were, because I love ranking things. Before we get into this, leave a like, it's the best way to help the video, and obviously subscribe. It's the greatest way you can help the channel and would mean the world to me as we creep up on the 10,000 subscriber mark. 17 achievements stand between us and finally completing Batman Arkham Knight. So let's start at the start with Silent Night Deadly Night, where we have to complete the Silent Night AR challenge with Batman and Robin without taking damage and only using knockout smashes. I decided to begin here because in my head this was one of the easiest ones, and well, I wasn't wrong. That's not to say I didn't completely fumble it a few times, but we threw the 89 suit on and went for it. Our biggest challenge here were the medics, who we needed to prioritise early on. The less time we had to spend on taking thugs out, the better, but for some reason I just didn't follow my own advice across the first few attempts. The first attempt came to an end when I decided to use the disruptor to shut down one of the medics' health packs, while forgetting that it took them down if they used them, invalidating the run altogether, and that led to our first reset. The second run began as we meant to go on, the first 3 thugs going down easy enough, but then we entered into a little bit of a grey area as we used a smoke bomb and 2 takedowns, not knockout smashes, on these thugs. I internally coped and took the last guy down with a knockout smash and just hoped it would still count. After all, the takedowns were still loud and weren't a part of a fear multi-takedown, so on to Robin, I guess. Robin was actually slightly easier than Batman for this challenge because, well, okay, I don't know why, he just was, like, by a lot. I did it in my first attempt, which was nice, but unfortunately no achievement was unlocked, which confirmed my suspicion and ruined my dose of copium, so we had to run it back and redo it with Batman. We did it first go around, but no achievement popped up. Oh wait, no, there it is. We can officially tick this one off. In terms of difficulty, this really isn't very hard, and if I had a top tip for this one, it would be to just follow the instructions and don't infer anything. Anyway, on to the next one. Next up on my journey to Arkham Entitlement was Secrets of the Batcave, where you have to complete the Batcave AR challenge with Batman and Nightwing unharmed using only beatdowns. Now, I initially assumed this would be a walk in the park, a cakewalk. Why are so many phrases regarding an easy thing related to walking? Anyway, the point is I thought this would be a lot easier than it actually was, because this caused a bit of pain, mainly because I forgot you couldn't take damage, so I actually did this challenge while taking damage, which means, well, I didn't actually do the challenge. After realising the error of my ways though, the real runs began taking form, and I realised my next big stumbling block of this challenge, the detective mode deflective guys. These guys meant I had to be very aware of my surroundings, like the great Ra's al Ghul once warned me about, and I had to pick and choose my targets very carefully, and well, that's what we did. After selling a few times for about half an hour, we began cooking. The first thug went down from the start, he was always the first to go in this strategy. The next group of thugs went down after a well-placed smoke bomb encased them before they were swiftly beaten down, before we escaped into the top of the bottom of Wayne Manor. We then disabled the guns of the 3 remaining deflective armour dudes and swung by the final visible thug, who was promptly dealt with and laid out as bait for the deflective dudes. I froze one of the guys, isolating him from the other 2, before dropping down, taking the 2 on the floor down, going up to our frozen victim, activating the dinosaur just for the sake of it, and beating down our final thug to give us the win in the first part of this challenge. The next part asked us to do the same thing, but this time with Nightwing, a character who really doesn't excel in Predator sections, but we didn't give up and I was nicely surprised by how quickly this went in comparison to how long I thought it would take. The first attempt can be summed up in one word: pathetic. A mere 5 minutes worth of attempts later and we managed to get a good run going. The first thug went down, as was the norm by this point, before we had to survey our options because I realised I'd drawn every enemy into one section of the the cave, the direct middle. We lured one guy over to Terry McT-Rex and took him out, and somehow didn't get shot to death. We managed to escape and began stalking our prey again. We lured the next victim to his oh wait, no, wrong series. We told this dude to head over to this already taken out friend, and we lay him down next to his friend, which left us with 5 remaining. We took out the next guy the same way, and this left 4 guys. One can be seen with detective vision, and the others, well, they proved to be a little bit harder. But not that hard, because this guy got taken out, and the next guy almost saw us and jump scared us. But we moved, and after taking out the last 3 guys, 7.5 minutes since we began the run, it ended, and the game began gaslighting me into believing I hadn't done it. The achievement didn't come for a while, but as I loaded up for the next achievement, it popped up and confirmed this stupendous W. If I had one bit of advice for this, it would come in the form of a quote from the late great Master Yoda. "Patience you must have, my young Padawan." I'm not doing a Yoda impression. Okay, I'll do a Yoda impression. Patience you must have, my young Padawan. Next up is an achievement I'd been hunting for a while, one which had eluded me for years in my previous tries, but I always get my target and I wasn't going to let it escape this time. First though, we put on another new fit, and the achievement in question, Run Through the Jungle, requires us to fly under the 3 main bridges between the 3 main islands of Gotham in one continuous glide. Now this one proved difficult, but not because of the requirements, but because of my poor technique taught to me by YouTube. Most online guides and videos tell you to begin... Oh, hang on, the game crashed. Okay, most videos tell you to start off on the Salvation Bridge, but after multiple failures I decided to create my own route, forge my own path, and well, here's the solution. You start on Perdition Bridge, which connects Bleak and Founders Island. You then loop back around it, ticking that one off your list. Then you cut across Bleak Island, making sure not to hit any of the large obstacles in your way, loop around the GCPD building and get under Mercy Bridge, before cutting across the water and finishing underneath Perdition Bridge. After about 20 minutes of trial and error, I managed to get this achievement. It wasn't too hard, and I know for a fact I tried this one before, which can't be said for a lot of achievements in this video, so it was nice to finally get this one done. After the achievement popped up, I decided to fight these guys and absolutely folded the last guy. This might be one of the most brutal endings to a fight I've seen in my decade of playing this game. I actually mentioned this in the first photo mode video, but you know I had to get a picture to celebrate both the achievement and the folding of this guy into a human wristband. Truly a monumental moment in both respects. My key advice for anyone looking to do this achievement would be to follow my route. It worked for me the first try, whereas other routes didn't, so I guess it must be quite good. And obviously make good use of dive bombs and make good judgment calls when it comes to trading speed for height. This can be tough, but we can tick it off on our list as we move on to the next group of achievements. Next up on our hit list are a group of achievements, and they are as follows: The Big Leagues, Shock and Awe, Vengeance Unlimited, Relentless, Motherload, Acts of Violence, and Higher Learning, which require us to unlock 21 stars in challenge maps as Robin, Azrael, Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Red Hood respectively. Now, I must preface this section by saying I didn't actually have to get all 21 stars for each character, because I'd previously played a lot of these challenge maps with their intended characters. So maybe I only had to get like 3 stars with some characters, 9 with others, 12 with some others, and so on and so forth. This meant I knew I could formulate a bit of a system for this, and so we began our journey into getting them done. The beauty of this set of achievements was that, in all honesty, they weren't really that difficult at all. They just required patience and a system which I formed pretty quickly. I began by doing the Iceberg Lounge challenge map, getting all 3 stars with each character before letting them get mercilessly beat to death. This was a quick and easy way to instantly knock 3 stars off our list for each character. I do want to say that it was here when I realised just how much I hate playing as Harley Quinn, something which becomes pretty evident later on, but she was by far my least favourite character to do these challenges with. Her movement felt sluggish, her gadgets are awful, and her gamer rage mode was probably her only redeeming feature later on down the line, but the rest of the characters were pretty easy. The Arkham Knight proved tricky initially, but that's because I barely ever play as him outside of this story pack. In fact, it was while recording this video I realised how little of the other characters I've played as since the game came out, which is something I've since rectified while recording this video, because to say I got pretty familiar with at least 3 of these characters would be the understatement of the year. The first character we completed was Robin. We did the Iceberg Lounge, moved on to Sharkbait, which is usually a Nightwing map. Collecting all 3 stars here, we then did Crime Alley, which in hindsight, I probably should have combined with another achievement later on in this video. But we got our 3 stars pretty easily here, and well, that was Robin done, quick and easy. Robin was probably the character aside from Azrael that I was most confident with out of the other playable characters, so I didn't expect him to be a big pain unlike someone else in these challenges, but let's move on as we tick the big leagues off the list. Azrael was up next, as he was really easy to tick off. Thankfully, he is just a reskinned Batman, so I was already really familiar with him. We again got all 3 stars on Sharkbait, Scales of Justice, which is usually a Robin map, before we moved into Crime Alley, which I distinctly remember having a lot of fun on, before we then headed inside and did the Monarch Theatre. Now, we actually get the achievement at the end of Monarch Theatre, so we can check it off our list, but I didn't realise this. I was texting my friend and had music playing, so after the map ended, I never actually saw the achievement pop up, and so just carried on playing through the maps, collecting all 3 stars in Clockwork and Quarantine, before considering that by this point I'd collected way too many stars across the maps we'd played, and the maps I'd done as Azrael previously for it not to have counted yet. So I stopped, reviewed the footage, realised I'm a dumbass, and moved forward onto the next character, ticking Shock and Awe off our list. Harley Quinn. Fuck you. Harley Quinn is by far my least favourite playable character in the game, so I knew I wanted to get her challenges out of the way pretty early on, and my god she didn't disappoint in the awful character category. I hate her, but we got the achievement. Enough said, let's move on. Next up we have Catwoman. Now Catwoman was going to be fairly easy. We ran our usual circuit at this point. Sharkbait, Scales of Justice, and well, that was it. I knew Catwoman would be easy, but damn, that was really easy. Thank you to me over the last decade for playing all of the Catwoman specific challenge maps. You are the best version of me. Now we have to tackle Barbara Gordon sections of the challenges. I began this challenge being a huge fan of Batgirl in this game. I think she has some of the coolest takedowns and is one of the fastest characters in the game, so I was quite excited to play as her some more. However, due to no fault of her own, by the end of this challenge, I was sick of the sight of her. But enough negativity, how did her challenges go? Well, really well. We did the circuit we've been going through so far with all of the characters. Sharkbait, Scales of Justice, Crime Alley, Monarch Theatre, Clock Tower and Quarantine, which brought the circuit to an end and grabbed us our next achievement. Moving on, we went for Nightwing next. Again, we ran the circuit, this time starting with Scales of Justice, moving on to Crime Alley, then Monarch Theatre, and finishing on Clockwork, where we got the achievement after finishing round 2. Obviously, we finished the map out and claimed all 3 stars, ticking off acts of violence as we move on to our next 21 stars challenge, which was Red Hood. He wasn't a character I was particularly familiar with coming into this. Again, I really haven't spent a huge amount of time playing as a lot of the alternate characters, so I knew I'd have to really try and get to grips with his moves further than my pretty basic understanding of them, and for the first few go-arounds with him, it didn't go very well to begin with, and in hindsight, I'm not really sure why. I did record a lot of the gameplay you see in this video really late on into the night, so I'm not sure if it was a mix of tiredness and a skill issue, but after getting my eye in and discovering the flashbang beatdown move, we managed to slowly but surely work our way through the maps, ticking the circuit off one by one, until at the end of Quarantine we were rewarded with higher learning, and thus we got all of the 21 star challenges done. Overall, these were quite easy, and a lot easier than one which would come later, but my biggest tip for this would be, again, patience. But aside from that, pick a few select maps and stick to them. Get to learn them, and eventually you'll get into a flow of just going through the motions fairly easily. The next day I woke up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, hopped into an Xbox party with my friend Riley, and continued the journey. I did forget to turn off the party overlay for basically this entire recording, so my bad, apologies, and I'll blur it for privacy reasons. I'm really sure he doesn't want to be stalked over Xbox. We begin the day by tackling Joyide, which requires us to get 33 stars using the 1960s Batmobile in AR challenges. Now, I'd already done the rest of these challenges on the other Batmobiles, so I'm not sure why I'd left it halfway through the 1960s one, but I did, and here we are. We begin hitting the track in the Batcave set map, where after a couple of attempts only reaching 2 stars, I decided to move on to the 1-lap races for 2 reasons. The first reason is these would be much quicker and efficient in terms of their time to star ratio, and the second is that the 3-lap races felt like more of a slog than races, and to hit 3 stars you needed to nearly be perfect, making ample use of the boost and drifting, especially the drifting, which slows the timer down for you. The 1-lap races also proved to be much easier, evident as we claimed 3 stars on our second attempt of the race Ashes, which proved my theory that the 1-lap races would be easier for us, and if it wasn't for this pretty avoidable crash at the end, we'd have absolutely smashed this one, although we did still come in 11 seconds under time, so it was a resounding success. Next up we headed over to Cataclysm, which again proved to be fairly easy, claiming all 3 stars in our second attempt after this monumental failure at the final hurdle in our first go around. I think it's worth mentioning that I cannot remember the last time I went out of my way to do the races in these games, but you know what? They're really cool, especially as a massive fan of the wider Batman world. Racing through these iconic locations and seeing all of the care and detail put into these tracks was really cool and definitely made this experience a lot more fun than grinding Riddler's tracks. We then moved on to Cobblepot's Causeway, which is definitely one of my favourite tracks in the game. We smashed this one first try, coming in 9 seconds under the 3-star time, which was quite nice, and that meant we could speed into Joker's Parade, which I fumbled massively. This track has one section in particular with a pretty unclear route, so I may or may not have gotten 2 stars on this race, but fear not, we went back and claimed all 3 stars 8 seconds under the time, which again was a nice run. What I realised for these races is I always needed an initial run to learn the course again, and a second run to actually do it properly, so I really stopped trying super hard on the first run-throughs, especially during Cobblepot's Causeway, and this allowed for mistakes, because once you learn the tracks, these really aren't that hard. Next up was the Batmobile Proving Ground, which we did first try, making good use of drifting and the time-saving gates. This was pretty simple. Next up, we began our journey into madness as we started the loop. The loop is less of a race and more of a test of ability to control the Batmobile around objects, and well, it didn't go well. The premise of the map is that you have to drive through these green gates and avoid anything else which sounded and looked a lot easier than it actually was. I was trying to go way too quick around the loop, which made the handling poor, which in turn led to me failing this challenge pretty badly, and it took me about 15 minutes in total, which felt like a lot longer. I even remember saying to my friend how long it was taking, so I could have sworn I was at this for like 45 minutes. It was a complete slog, but we got through it and eventually collected all 3 stars, so we could finally be released from our prison and move on to our final race. The final race we did to finish off the 1960s Batmobile challenges was the Midnight Fury time trial, which takes you all over Bleak Island. This really wasn't too hard at all. The directions were clear, there was plenty of time to drift and shave off time through cutting corners, and the game gives you plenty of time reducing checkpoint markers, which was handy, and oh, I only got 2 stars. Huh. Maybe I do so. Never mind, there's the achievement. I win. On to the next one. My top tip for this achievement is just to go fast. Next on our list was a pretty easy one in theory, Point of Impact, where we'd have to perform 5 perfect shots with the Vulcan gun on the Batmobile without taking damage. I was really confident going into this because I do like to back myself as being pretty good in the Batmobile when it comes to the combat. So, how did this one go down? Well, we chose the combat map Untouchable, which is exactly what it sounds like. You can't get hit or you die. This would have been a pain if the enemy tanks weren't stationary the whole time, which means we only needed to worry about dodging and lining up our target, and we didn't have to wait for them to move in on us, which made this so much easier. It only took 8 attempts, which might sound bad on paper, but you have to take into account that each attempt lasted only about 15 seconds on average, because we were getting blown up by being hit once, and obviously this was successive shots, meaning if we missed one, we'd fail. So all in all, I was really happy with how this went, and we got the achievement after making use of the EMP upgrade on the car. This was easily our quickest achievement so far and really didn't take much effort, which was a nice turn of events. My tip for this one is to do what I just did, play on Untouchable and use the EMP to avoid getting hit, line up your shots and hit them. It's a pretty simple one, let's get into the next one. The next achievement also went so much quicker than I assumed. This one was called Blunt Trauma and required us to use every type of predator takedown. Now, I'm not sure how I'd never done this in my literal hundreds of hours of playtime on this game over the course of the last decade, so I was a little worried I'd have to cycle through every single predator takedown until I hit the few that I'd missed, but it turns out the only one I missed was the line launcher takedown, which was really easy to execute, and so we got it really quickly, which superseded Point of Impact as by far our quickest achievement to unlock, which was nice. Now we have to head over to the Seagate Amusement Park as we look to claim our next two achievements. The first being all snug in their beds, which required us to uncover the secrets of the Seagate Amusement Park and discover how Joker came into possession of the park. And the second one was called a Blade of Memory, which needed us to destroy all of the destructible items in the Seagate Amusement Park. Now I have to say, I was pretty confident I'd already done all snug in their beds, but this might have just been wrong. See, my initial experiences on Batman Arkham Knight weren't on my current account, they weren't on my main account, they were actually on my brother-in-law's account. So my first achievement on this game says it wasn't unlocked till 2016, but that isn't quite true because I did used to play on his account, so I might have done this on his account, I might not have. It just seemed weird that I hadn't done this yet. But clearly I hadn't done it, so this was our first target. We had to play a few games around the theme park, including a test of strength, which we had to dive bomb onto from the tallest part of the island, shooting ducks, which I'd already done on my last playthrough of this DLC, so there's no footage for that, a large puzzle of tile slide, which had us move around different bumper cars to finish, and finally a game of Match 2, which I took an embarrassingly long amount of time on. They were quite fun to complete, and after beating the different games, we headed over to the park's central office and listened to Joker and Harley's dubious acquisition of the park, which I'm sure we all knew about, but if you don't, I'll put it into some family-friendly terms. Joker and Harley manipulated a man into suicide following Harley inducing a Titan overdose on his already dying daughter. Jesus Christ, we need to lighten things up. How about a joke? Okay, what do you get when you combine a joke and a rhetorical question? Our next achievement took a whole hour and a half as I ran around the Seagate Amusement Park trying to find destructible items. First we took down all of the little jack-in-a-boxes, which wasn't so hard. Then we went after the balloons since, you know, they're pretty visible, they're giant balloons. And then we had to find the chattering teeth. This wasn't Arkham Asylum anymore though, these little things weren't running around in open view, they were literally in every single corner of this godforsaken hellscape. In the time it took me to find them all, specifically the last one, I could have played through the whole DLC again twice, and had a lot more fun than I did here, and after a whole football match worth of searching, I finally found it tucked behind a bar. I couldn't believe it, but just like that, we'd done it and collected our achievement, ticking a Blade of Memory off of our list after so long. This was what I was referring to when I was saying I was sick of looking at Batgirl earlier by the end of this. It was so mind-numbing, but alas, we did it. My tips for these two are the same, just follow a guide. Seriously, don't try find all this crap by yourself, just follow a guide, it's so much easier. Don't do what I did, it's not worth it. Next up we had what I assumed would be pretty tough, but not impossible by any means. The Chill in the Air, which needed us to complete the Crime Alley AR challenge unharmed with Batman, Robin and Nightwing. I did my Batman attempt right after finishing the Matter of Family achievements, and well, I did it first time. I was really happy with this. I knew this achievement wasn't going to cause too much pain, but I was really surprised with how easily this one was actually going. Next up we had to do Robin, who I was quite confident with, and that confidence was rewarded as we once again got this one first try. I was over the moon with this. I really wasn't shocked when I did it first try as Batman, but I have to admit I was a little shocked when we did it first try as Robin, who's a lot more underpowered than the Dark Knight when it comes to his gadgets. Finally for this achievement though, we had to do it with Nightwing. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the original Boy Wonder in this game. His attack pattern is hard to keep in a fluid combo because of his weird double hit animations, his gadgets are a huge downgrade from his city counterpart, and he just doesn't feel as good. So I knew for a fact this would take multiple attempts to complete and thus grab the achievement. We fumbled. A lot. Sometimes really early on, sometimes in the final round, and as the attempt slipped through my fingers, the head loss began setting in. I started making stupid decisions, which I wouldn't usually make, and trying different tactics, which I wouldn't usually try, and they didn't work. 16. That's how many attempts that I tried. 16 times I pressed the restart button, but little did I know this would be child's play when compared to what was coming. But we persevered, pushed through and finally did it, smashing our winning attempt and finally getting the achievement, which was a sigh of relief moment. But, well, we are far from the end. Well, here we are, the final achievement. An achievement that actually almost broke me. One so hard and so frustrating that it almost got made into a video of its own. I present to you The Curtain Falls, which requires us to flawless free flow in every round of the Monarch Theatre as Batman, Robin, Nightwing and Catwoman. So for the uninitiated among you, that means playing every single round of the challenge map perfectly. No damage, not even a dropped combo. We had to be flawless with not only Batman, but Robin, Catwoman and Nightwing, and oh my god, this achievement might have aged me about 20 years. I started off on day one going after this achievement with a flicker in my eye and hoped that this would be fairly easy. We started with Batman, and after a few attempts, we did it. Batman was really easy to do. He has the most gadgets, the most useful takedowns, he's the character we're all most familiar with. This was really easy. It took a grand total of 16 minutes and only 10 attempts, which I was very happy with. Before we continue, I think it's worth mentioning that I did try to avoid the evade tactic as much as I could. I think, although effective, it really doesn't require a whole lot of skill to evade and spam batarangs from a distance. My stance on this would change as the hours of footage and tens of mental breakdowns piled up on me, and I do recognise that had I employed this tactic early on, this whole thing would have been wrapped up before dinner, but I wanted to give it a real, skillful go at first. After completing Batman, we had a few attempts with Robin, but didn't really get anywhere, so switched over to Catwoman, who I assumed would have been really easy. She's fast and has a greatly reduced number of possible enemy spawns given her limited skill set, but again, after about 2 hours of trying, I decided to call it a night. The next day I chose Nightwing as my target. He'd be the one to break the curse, and so the journey began. Countless fails, near misses, and moments of the game actively preying on my downfall went unrewarded. Again, it came down to this weird animation thing he's got going on, and his lack of unusable gadgets. But after about 3 hours, we got it. Or so I thought. See, at the start of round 2, I hit this thug and technically started and dropped a combo that might have led to something, but I didn't realise this was the case, so continued like normal and did the rest of the rounds flawlessly. No combos dropped, no damage, they were perfect, apart from the hit on this thug, which invalidated the whole run. Now, I realised when I went back and reviewed the footage at the end of a failed run, and when I say I nearly broke into a crying wreck, I mean it. We had to do Nightwing all over again, and for what? One enemy, one singular hit. And then, after a few more hours of attempts, fails, glitches, and fumbles, we finally got it. But then, as I was scrubbing through the footage to make sure everything was alright for the video, I realised something. The screen was all black. The whole time. Yes, that's right, in my recording of me actually doing this part of the achievement with Nightwing, a recording where halfway through I resorted to listening to classical music to try and calm my mind and help me through it, the whole thing corrupted, and so unfortunately there's no evidence of me doing this, just black screens and a broken heart. Although I do have witnesses and receipts, as I celebrated to Valstrakuga, who some of you might know from the OG Man series over on his channel, so he will attest to me doing this. I couldn't believe it, but you'll just have to trust me, I did it. Nightwing was the second character we checked off our list, something I was thrilled about. It was about 3:45 in the morning, and I'd completed half of the achievement. Next up was Catwoman. Catwoman is a character I felt really confident with. I knew I was half decent with her, as the only skill to getting good at Catwoman was mashing punch and landing those oh so sweet critical strikes. Unfortunately though, it wasn't to be on the first day, or the second, or the third, or the fourth, But on the 10-year anniversary of Batman Arkham Knight, the same day I dropped my remastered retrospective, June 23rd, I did it. Catwoman was actually a really comparatively quick character to complete. I quote-unquote only tried with her for about 3 hours in total, and on the attempt where I actually did it with her, the recording is a comparatively short 35 minutes long, which I was over the moon with. Surely the day couldn't get any better. Well, it could. Robin was the one character I just could not get a hang of in this challenge. I'd been dipping in and out of characters here and there to keep my mind fresh and break up the monotony of mashing the restart button over and over and over and over again. And so my attempts with Robin came to a total of about 4 hours. Some recorded, some not. I'm really glad I didn't get it on any attempt where I didn't record, or this would have been a really anticlimactic ending. But yeah, Robin was a struggle. He was one of the first characters I went after this achievement with, and ironically enough ended up being the one who'd have to carry us over the finish line. I'm going to hand you now over to me doing a live comm of my final couple of runs, and I'll meet you at the end of this video. Okay, I need to remember Robin has normal batarangs, because that's what's been throwing me off with Catwoman and Nightwing for so long, is that they have, like, obviously Nightwing has his sticks, and Catwoman has the whip, which is almost completely useless. But I think that's round 3 done. This is going to go well. I can feel it. I can feel it. I'm in the zone. No, never mind. Back to the lobby. Oh, and Robin has the pickup move. Oh. Oh, we are learning. We are learning. Play dodge takedown king strikes again. Unlucky borzoi. I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling confident, which isn't something I've felt in any of these runs so far. This could be it. What we got? Out of touch. No. We need a different song. Well, come on. What's a good song to win at? To win to? Let's go for what's on the shuffle. You know what? We're gonna put on This Fire Burns. That'll do it. This Fire Burns. Oh, unlucky. Blade dodge takedown king. No! You can't do 2 at once. That's not fair. I'm not that good. Even through the darkest days, this fire burns always. Robin. Always. Okay, we need another song to win to. This is going to be the one. What we got? New York State of Mind Live. That'll do. That will do. This is the one we're going to win to. I can feel it. Unfucking lucky. Okay, just evade. Just keep evading. There's nothing hard about this. It's fucking simple. I've done this in my sleep if I'd have... You know what? We'll flex on him a bit. Flex on him a bit. Yeah, Robin. Flex on him. Flex on him, Robin. Come on, Timothy. I'm sorry I was mean to you in the serial killer run. I didn't mean it. Man, you still have so much... Get fucked up, you waste of space. See you next time. It's nothing personal. Nobody cares about Tim Drake. I care about Tim Drake. Unlucky. Eat shit. Okay, now I'm stressing out. We love invincibility frames. Give me invincibility frames or I retire. No! Oh, fuck. Oh, that's not fair. I need to evade, like, after, when we get towards the end of the runs, I need to start evading, like, after takedowns. I think that's the play. Cause sleep is the cousin of death. Back, track back, no earlier time, nothing's equivalent to the New York state of mind. Camera movement, baby. Smith and Wesson, undressing. Do the Delta. Frustrated, I'm a hijack Delta. Okay, come on. Come on. Okay, first medic. Dead. We're not going to flex this time. Because that's not who we are. That's not what we stand for on this channel. Kidding. Oh, we're going to die because of that, aren't we? Okay, come on. Did that... Wait, did I get the 2 medics? Scanning the battlefield for medics. Battlefield mentioned? What the Oh my god, the song's picking up. The song's picking up. Oh. Like it does in my breath, I never sleep. 'Cause sleep is the cousin of death. Backtrack to earlier times, nothing's equivalent to the New York state of mind. Come on. What the fucking hell did my special combo move just go? Yes! Yes! Vamos! It's over! Come on, give me the achievement. Give me the achievement. Give me it. Yes! Vamos! It's over! It's over! New York state of mind. This is the... Yes! Come on! Val, it's over. I've done it. I've done the achievement. Robin took 14 minutes. Yes! Oh my god. Oh god, that's taken like 30 hours of footage. Oh my god. It's the greatest day of my life. Come on! Yes! Oh my god. And with that, I believe Arkham Knight 100%ed a decade on from its release. Oh my god. Well, there we go. After countless hours of struggles, failed attempts, moments where I genuinely considered scrapping the video, and extreme gamer rage, I have finally beaten Batman Arkham Knight, and how fitting that I do it exactly a decade after it was released. Monday the 23rd of June, 2025. A monumental day for Cardi kind, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me suffer. I did consider streaming all of this, but quite frankly I stream about as well as I speak Mandarin, that being not very well. But I said at the start of the video that I'd give you my rankings for each character, from hardest to easiest when it came to claiming the achievements. The ranking is as follows from worst to best, with a very brief explanation for each character. Coming in at number 8, we have Harley Quinn. Like I said earlier, fuck you Harley Quinn. Then at number 7 we have Nightwing. He was good, but he was so hard to get hold of. His weird moveset and just the monumental downgrade he suffered from Arkham City is just unforgivable. Number 6 we have Red Hood. Completely forgettable, not the worst, and I really enjoyed his flashbang beatdown move. Number 5, Catwoman. Quick, fun, no gadgets. Number 4, Robin. He brought it home for us. We all care about Tim Drake. That's right, we all love Tim Drake.
Was it Tim Drake?
Everybody
Cares about Tim Drake.
Coming in at number 3, Batgirl. It's just Batman if he was a girl, a personal favourite of mine. Number 2, Azrael, religious Batman. And number 1 is Batman, of course, and he's just Batman. Well, it's over, and thank God. I mean, I don't even know where to start. This achievement video has taken years off my life. That final achievement, the curtain falls, genuinely I must have recorded 10 hours of footage for that just on its own, and then obviously you've got the rest of the achievements, and there's been a lot of footage for this video. I think this might be the most footage I've ever recorded for a single video, which is quite impressive because the Arkham City retrospective had a ton in it, but it's over and I'm done. Thank you all so much for watching. This video is something a bit different. I probably won't do it for the other games. I might do, we'll see, but don't expect this to happen for the other games. I just thought this would be really cool to do for Arkham Knight's decade anniversary, and the fact I completed the achievement on the 23rd of June, on the Monday, as I'm recording this voiceover now, is amazing. Like, it was written in the stars, wasn't it, really? So thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching. leave a like, of course subscribe. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers and that'd be really cool. Shout out to Val Strakuga for sitting through my celebration speech when I'd done this. I'll probably leave that at the end of the video if you want to hear the voice note I sent him, because he was there for the whole ride. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you next time. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.
It's over. I've done it. I've done the achievement. Robin took 14 minutes. Yes. Oh my god. Oh god, that's taken like 30 hours of footage. Oh my god. This is the greatest day of my life.